Hi, my name is Lynda Mullaly Hunt, and I write books for kids. You might know some of the characters from my stories. Carly Connors, and Allie Nickerson, Keisha, and Albert. Today, though, I'm going to talk to you about my next book, Shouting at the Rain. The main character is Delcy McKill, and Ronan Gale, a boy her age, becomes her best friend.
Tell us about your character.
So, how are these characters similar to me? Well, writing this book reminded me that we can be all different things at once. Delcy is a barefooted runner, always on the move, yet she's happy to sink down into the couch and watch the Game Show Network and game shows with her Grammy. Delcy is both trusting and savvy. She feels loved and protected and valued, yet she feels alone. She is happy, yet she drags this heavy emotional block behind. And the questions, always the questions about why her mother left her. Her new best friend Ronan is wounded in similar ways, but he is more outwardly angry and has high walls, keeps people at a distance. The thing about anger is it can feel like you're lost in the fog. It affects our ability to think things through and to solve problems. But the worst thing about anger, which is a completely normal human emotion, is that we can often not connect to others while we are angry. Now, connecting to others is an absolute act of bravery. To let others see who you really are, to be vulnerable. I mean, walking up to a table full of kids in the cafeteria and asking if you can sit down, that's really brave. And the reason is that it's a very human reaction or worry to be rejected. Like, nobody wants to be rejected. A big lesson that Delcy learns is that if you don't love someone, though, their words shouldn't bother you. So if in a situation like that, if somebody is unkind to you, if you don't love them, their words shouldn't matter. But she does learn this the hard way. The lesson of who we share ourselves with and who we don't, which is an important thing to learn. Delcy finds Ronan, and they grow to trust each other. They share their true selves, and as they traipse around Cape Cod on adventures, they both learn what it means to be angry versus sad, broken versus whole, and abandoned versus loved. And that if you choose the right people to stay by your side, you can weather any storm that comes along. Now, how are these characters different than me? Well, at 13 years old, I was an angry kid. I struggled with a lot of things. But I never really learned to understand what anger exactly is, like Ronan and Delcy do in this book. What anger is and what anger isn't. Now, both Delcy and Ronan lose their tempers, and they suffer consequences for that. Especially Ronan, who ends up in the back of a police car for losing his temper in the book. But they figure out that when we feel a lot of emotions, that is humans, like emotions that humans don't like to feel, like jealousy or sadness or loneliness, and there's a lot at once, we can't process it. It's like throwing it all into a blender. And what do? You get anger. Anger is actually a combination of a lot of other emotions. It's the only emotion that doesn't exist all by itself. And that's hard to cope with. It's hard to process, and it's hard to figure out. But remember, there's nothing wrong with feeling angry. In fact, there are many good reasons to feel anger, and a lot of very meaningful change has happened in the world because people got angry. If we feel anger, though, it's important to take a step back and consider it and really think about what we are feeling so that we can take thoughtful action to get through that. Now, how did I come up with these characters? Now, from the beginning, Delcy and Ronan were too many things at once. And as the author, I really had to try to figure out who they would be. So while I figured that out, I started playing with anagrams, which is something I did when I was a kid when things would bother me. I'd like to play with letters. Now, an anagram are two words made of the same letters. So listen and silent are made of the same 6 letters in a different order. And working on those anagrams led me to come up with attributes or qualities of my characters. So actually, all of the character names in my book are anagrams. If you take the letters and you mix them up, you can come up with a secret from the book, a clue as to something about them. There are all kinds of things that you can find. And in fact, the title of the book, Shouting at the Rain, is a very important anagram. Its anagram is something that occurs in the book that's very important. Now, is there a story I can tell from childhood that helped inspire these characters? So when I was a kid, I had a best friend. We were together literally every single day. And a girl moved into her neighborhood and she decided that she would rather hang out with her instead. And that really hurt. That was really, really hard. And when somebody says something to you that's unkind on the bus or in the cafeteria and it's a random person, you know, that might bother you, but it doesn't hurt like a really, really good friend turning on you. That's a really hard thing to deal with. Delcy goes through this similar situation with a friend in the book, a friend she's known since she was about 4 years old. But even though this friend makes it clear that she's outgrown her, that she wants to move on, Delcy hangs on. Now, why would she do that? Well, we sometimes hang on to people that don't treat us that well because we're afraid to be alone. We figure, well, a friend that's not perfect is better than being alone. But, you know, you deserve better than that. You shouldn't do that. You should deserve better than that. It's scary to put yourself out there. It's scary to strike up a conversation with someone you don't know, but that's how you meet new people. Join clubs so that you meet people who have similar interests to you. You know, take the chance. And if you strike up a conversation and it doesn't work out and you don't become good friends with that person, that's fine. You can handle that. That's going to be a disappointment, but you can handle that. Take the chance to go out and meet new people because those connections will make you happy. And you really deserve that. You deserve that. You do. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a fantastico day. Take care. Bye-bye.